All right, cool. We're live. Hi, everybody. Let's go. So we got here a mastering session today. We got a track. Actually, it's a piece, so it's an extract of sound composition that's gonna go on a video, and it consists of like two sections. And we're gonna listen to it. We're gonna analyze it, work a bit on it, and I think it's like a tip that I learned from another video, some like Sterling Studio video, where the engineer was approaching the two different sections of the song with different settings on the output. So he would print a section and print another section separately, and then combine them in post-production. So I think we want to approach this a bit like in this way today. It's two different songs, but it's like a long piece, and there's like a transition here in the middle. Then we can use to combine the prints after the gear. So we're gonna take a listen. While we take a listen, also I'm gonna write some notes. It's always handy to write notes as an initial impression, when you listen to something for the first time or at the beginning of the process. Build the loop, the hardware loop. So we're gonna come out of the computer, go through the outboard, get back in, monitor, and probably apply more processing post capture. And then let's go through the process, take a listen as a first thing. Welcome everybody. right, good initial part, so pretty dark pounding bass. We want to keep that. Open a little bit the mid-range while controlling it at the same time. There's not too much need to push the highs after a discussion with the artist. So we're gonna approach it like, first of all, I'm gonna do a round of loudness control here. This nice Good Hertz is a brand. It's a freebie. It's basically like a utility plugin, but it's very smart. It's very well implemented. Besides the digital history behind it, you can read it on the website. But what it comes out with is a LFS meter. It's quite cool because most of the time you do these adjustments by ear. So I would do that by ear, but just, you know, leveling up the loudness as I hear it. But having an LFS meter there, easy to read, with a couple of cool tips and tricks, it's very handy, you know. So I used to use the utility plugin from Logic, but now I switched to this one as I find it somehow more, it gives you more information. It's like, you know, so because the first beat here was a bit really loud. Right, so before even I do the loudness thing, I want to add the Nova plugin. This is a parallel equalizer. I love it, I use it all the time. And with this one, we're gonna, 1 second, check the mid-range, because probably this can use a little bit of dynamic control. And together with that, we program a little bit of here automation, loudness. It's called trim. Is it trim gain? This thing. Yeah, we can just have it a little bit like start up without starting. Like should sound a bit more important, let's say, but not so like intense from the beginning. So. Go and check that band in particular. It's quite tricky there. So this is a way, this is a solution with the dynamic EQ here. But the other way I want to try is with this other one called Arbiter. It's an intelligent EQ, it's like a selective EQ that will intelligently adjust the level in a, I would say, very intuitive way. So we're gonna like pause this for a sec, so deactivate these bands 1, 2, and 3 away, and control here, put it in solo. There we go, and then drop it. It's a bit more natural like this. It's cool. So I'm gonna add the new band. High shelf. from the beginning. It's nice, overall a little less, I would say. So we go 3.5 and 3.5, just a touch. And it's cool. We follow it with a nice suit. Okay, it's something in mastering. It's often done. It's first you clean up, you remove information, so it leaves you with a cleaner overall base, and then you add information with another processing. So I also know this is quite on the narrow side because it's quite centered, the sound. So we're gonna follow it with a clean cue to try to open the mid-range a bit. Except we're gonna split this in left and right. See, and then just slightly widen it. There's also one resonance that's still there, so I'm going to add an extra note. And then there's another one here. Passage without processing. Smoothen it all out, adding a little bit of compression. I was thinking about this one. And also I'm going to use the analog EQ here to still smoothen out a bit the mid-range. There's still one here, it's bothering me a bit. There you go. That one needs a bit of control. It's my 530. I'll smoothen that on this one too. I think I'm gonna try this other approach here. I'm gonna make a copy, take this out for now, and use Soothe again, which is, I think it needs a little bit of customization, this preset here. Let's see, I'm gonna embrace the whole mid-range. I'm gonna go reverse mode, so I'm gonna hear only what Soothe is gonna remove. And on Soothe you can go bend the shelf, which is a really broad action. Okay. This is a bit of the original, but a bit more easier to the ears. And let's add reverb here. Let's see what happens when we add a little bit of ambience around. So what I'm gonna do, let me think, I'm gonna duplicate this whole thing. And on the copy here, I'm gonna just keep the filtering EQ, which I didn't add yet. Should do that actually. Yeah, let's complete the filtering 1 second before I erase. Pause this, keep Soothe, it cleans up a lot, and probably before the reverb we also want to filter a bit more. We'll check this out after we had. And I was thinking about this nice relab. Here. This one. The idea is to add space. We don't want to have the reverb obviously to be intrusive. So I'm gonna look for I like this very kind of synthetic but cool sounding stuff. And then I want to balance the amount of like energy in the center and on the sides, and I always use center 1 for these kind of things. It's no-brainer. There you go. Lip wing, center 1, because I can cut the sand, so I can cut what really comes from there and leave only the sides, and then balance that against the dry. That's the idea. Pretty nice. Compress a little bit the overall the whole thing, just gently. opto, like smooth and auto stuff, you know, to keep it easy. Let's compress the input rather. It's cool, but we need to add a little bit of character to this. So this will be just a start, okay? So we print the start until here. The reverse fab. I'm gonna level that down for this part, I think. Let's see. Work out the low end a bit in this section. We might decide maybe to print at beginning with settings and then post-produce it. Now we need to break it there, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna split this intro by 1, and here we're going to break it reverb channel can stay. It's like that one can stay there because it's just the reverb, and then we're gonna automate the levels maybe. But we got it here. Let's see. Yeah, at the bigger kick, somewhere here. I'm gonna break it and switch. Bit of automation there. This one, trim gains already there. This bit. Cool. So I'm gonna have to print this first section. So what we're gonna do is use this channel here, print, and then let me move everything a little bit more. Some space, and there you go. I think that if we want to be a little bit subtle, we can add a touch of automation on the reverb trim gain in this thing, which is, I wonder, yeah, the second one. And I'm gonna do it manually, right? I'm gonna use the touch mode, similar to Pro Tools, really. Touch mode. Gonna bring the reverb up a little bit in those moments where it gets quiet. Okay, there's only a little thing I want to correct here. This we can just zoom in on a bit. Yeah, I should go straight here on this. It's nice when it drops a bit here in these louder moments. Yeah. Okay, like it, let's print. So we start from the beginning and drop it in here. And cut. So this first part is sorted. I'm going to deactivate it because we're going to go on from the print, which I'm going to actually edit. Marquee 2, exactly on the kick drum, and then we take it back from there. But we have a bit of roll, you know, to like be able to adjust the crossfade later. So let's focus on this section now. I'm going to, in fact, you know, clean it a little bit. This you don't need anymore. You're gonna have to review a little bit this EQ here. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna just get rid of it in that section. Let me check. Yeah, of course the reverb needs to be muted. So we need to do a little trick. Here. There we go. Actually, down a bit. Don't worry about the click now, it's going to be all aligned later. Ooh, baby, slow end. Back 1 second to this part here. When it drops in, it's punchy. I'll try to constrict it a little bit with the... Actually, you know what we're gonna use instead? We're gonna use Lipwing Dec24 because I made a preset here, low end control, it's called nice here. Because this one, it's good to like control that sub, which like has to be punchy and powerful, but not over the top, I would say. So bass control mild, this one. And then we set the filter really low. Just that. Double click on the thing. Discovered that by accident one time. I was just, you know, like nervous clicking, and the meter, the resolution of it increases, so you can see, you know, the half dB, a dB and a half, 2 dB, 3 dB, like kind of gain reduction. Yeah, like that, like. At the end of the day, it's never really what technically makes most sense, but what you reach and the way that the energy flows through. A lot of the time is like that. The little variation really makes it a bit more, I don't know, it moves you more, I would say. Plus on the other band, this one, I can add a little bit of excitement by adding the negative ratio. Negative ratio, I mean lower than 1 ratio is going to expand up. And just a touch, just, you know, like something very subtle, and then I suppose this setting will work also here. Leave a little bit of the low and a bit more important here, perhaps. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a touch of automation. Dyne 1, let's see. I think I'm gonna just, here you go. Touch, I'm gonna touch it. So Logic shows up, you know, like shows me the curve. It's much easier like this. With touch mode, it's gonna go back to its original setting, so no problem there. Reset it like that. And then this section here, I'm gonna raise the threshold a bit, just here, like until here, something like this. still, let's check one sec. Bit of extra, I think. Clean EQ. Yeah. The tape thing here is doing a lot, like the ANA mod. It's running through the ANA mod. Number 7. Let's check after this section that we haven't heard yet. I still think it needs a bit of this mid-range, I don't know, like get a bit more, a bit deeper. I'm gonna try the stage 1 too. This thing is it's very interesting. Sound stage manipulation. I talked about it already a few times. What I'm gonna try to do is let me check on the analyzer 1 second first. So I'm gonna call in Nova again because it's a handy way to check your frequencies. That stuff, like what's up, kilohertz to 4 kilohertz, 1 to 4 kilohertz range. I'm gonna adjust my crossovers here. Yeah, about that. And we try with the mono spread, we try with the width, you know, like give it a bit more. Thing is that we should apply this really after print. Why? Because it's now inserted in the main pre-master channel, and it excludes the reverb, which comes, you know, on a separate track, and it's mixed together into the output and printed. So we might just pause that for a second, like print it first, and do this final touch after. So I'm gonna move this plugin on the return here and deactivate it for now. You see, I placed it on the print. I didn't explain actually, you know, just to be clear. What you see here, let's label this stuff yellow. Different tonality of yellow for the reverb, just to be sure, that's just visuals. But the yellow stuff comes before the output. This one I'm gonna label now pink, whatever, comes after the output. So I need to print whatever, you know, goes through the output and in the computer, and that's gonna be my final file that I'm gonna prepare as the master output. So it's like here in the computer, out of the computer, into the output. Actually, the way I patched this kind of from left to right, although not really because stuff is a bit spread, but I've got my own way, you know, to control it. And the switcher here let me engage or disengage whatever piece of gear into the signal path. Now you will see everything moving because that's the way this thing is designed. The signal goes through all the time, but when you switch a knob, like when you switch, like engage one of these options, it drops in the audio. It's like in what you hear. So it's the way they design it, because you can see the compression going on before you actually even engage it. Anyway, what I have patched in this moment is the analog EQ that comes before everything, this thing here. Then I've got the second analog EQ, the powerful Maselec. And then I have the Fute, which is like a, you know, overall really cool compressor, good for anything. And then I have the combo Fatso Maselec. I eventually excluded the mod. I did a couple of listening. I was like, I think it's tight and full, round, fat enough. But this really rounds it. The combination of the two Actually, I think you don't see it in camera, but it's a empirical lab Fezzo and a Maselec opto compressor. They work together pretty well. And then last but not least, the limiter here, which is also, you don't see it on this side. It's the Maselec limiter de-esser. So mostly I'm using it for de-essing most of the time. And then it comes back in the box, and in the box I've got a couple of things. I've got the digital limiter here on. So I would say at this point, let me listen 1 second from the beginning here, and then we're going to print it at the same time. have to adjust this bit. I was like, wrong parameter, this one. Alright, cool. Let's print this section. Just need a little bit of attention. Let's see where we arrive with this. Yeah, far. Yeah, so we can just print from the break. Yeah, from like here. got it. Now gonna think of the to give ourselves a bit more you know, options. Well, we're gonna finish print first, then we're gonna split this print channel into a couple of copies and route them into a bus, so you know, like to have a bit of a view of the little bits and pieces that we're gonna put together. I'm gonna play 1 second this section. Keep the settings here as well, so I'm gonna do, I got confused again, this one by 2. I'm gonna split it at the, let's see, pretty much where I was thinking to drop in the new print, somewhere here. Let's just listen 1 second to this. To catch the flow, I'm gonna play from this part. Here we can drop in the new recording and see what happens, because I just want to tighten the bass a little bit more in there and it gets to volume. So I'm gonna have to split it over here, which means I'm gonna go into the pencil mode, sorry, scissors tool here, and break it at the kick drum. There you go. Mute this bit, mute this bit. So mute this, and off you go. Yeah, this part we did, so we can deactivate it. I keep on getting confused with this, sorry guys. I keep on getting confused with this. Yeah, here. Well, okay, let's do that. Redo. There you go. Mute. Okay, so yeah. And that's it. So I'm gonna deactivate this bit, and we're gonna keep on from here. That's when I would like those attack and release times. So I'm gonna swap this EQ stage. The thing about Pro Q3 is that it's very, it has this gain tool, this, what's it called here? Gain scale tool. Super handy to have the EQ more thin and more fat of the scene. I like this, but we can replace it perhaps with the Mac DSP. My AE400. How are we gonna bring this in? The thing is, doesn't have a morph. I need to know. I need to use on this one. I need to go via multiplicity. It's an awesome tool. This multiplicity can do anything. I'm gonna copy the curves. I got a cut around 124 and a cut around 160. I'm gonna create a couple of pre-bands. There you go. 124, 160. Kind of narrow. Right, and I'm gonna like compress. But what I did with the Pro Q was to cut gain and then boost up dynamically, so expand. So I'm gonna do that too. Reversing ratio here, cut with the gain. Notice how this curve was a bit wider here on the 124 and a bit narrower here on the 160. So I'm gonna have to mimic that. So I'm gonna go a bit gentler here. Loop by looks, and I'm gonna listen, of course. I'm gonna slope it a little bit narrower here. 48, so like 72. You can change the curve into this like narrower Butterworth here. Yeah, cool. Really narrow. This one. Ceiling, we're gonna give it, I think, 3 dB. Go. Because this one has a wet dry. Here you go. I mean, Pro Q3 wasn't bad actually. Tighter, yeah, multiplicity, man. It's like can't escape multiplicity. Gonna add a little trick. Gonna add two crossover, like a crossover, which substantially means you're gonna have a 2 bands multi-band thing, and I'm gonna narrow down the lows. And tighten up the highs. So lower like half dB. Compress half dB. Go on the other band and choose sidechain source band 3. So what it's gonna do is gonna pick up the sidechain from the low band and use it to control, to key the upper band, which means now I can go upward with a nice dB. Love multiplicity, man. Yeah, and then we fade it in here. So we got multiplicity, wet dry. We got cabling here, sorry. Wet dry, and we're gonna just fade it in. So no multiplicity before, although maybe here. We'll leave it like that, and we bring it in this section. Transition. Extra excitement there, so this one boosts a bit the levels. Cool. So let's print from here. What's up? Of course. I want to check this section. So, yeah, loudness gotta go up there. Vibe, loudness. Vibe 1. Okay, so yeah, we gotta. Yeah, I forgot the loudness. That's why. So check this out. Yeah. Bit of push there, so I'm gonna align it to 1 dB, and I'm gonna print it again from here. So we got the transition with the volume thing. and cut. So we're going to deactivate the pre-masters. Now going to work on the print file. A couple of things I want to check. Let's play this section one sec. So I'm checking the really deep lows with this solo function here. Appears to be a little bit. We could like drop in a quick DMG control, track control, and because this thing has balance, we can automate that. So by the looks of the meter, it's more centered, but let's check, because sometimes, you know, the way it sounds, then it's completely different. Yeah, let's engage the limiting. A little bit okay, but just a touch, I think. So here is fun. Check this section. We're almost done, by the way, because we just need to align the sections and that's it. See here, we need to correct it. So I'm gonna go into my automation, track control, balance, and yeah, let's stretch open this thing.
Do you have time for questions?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I see. So exactly, we're gonna drop into that. Boom, like that. There you go. So somewhere here, like this. No, because then we eat that bit. Something like this. We can do a quick crossfade here, like 4 samples thing. And see how it sounds. Roll back a bit. Okay. And now we need to adjust the balance, because now it's off from the other side. So let's see. Balance. I think this can go centered here in the section. There you go. I always like to join it here just before a transient, like, because it makes it a bit easier, you know. Yeah, something like this, and then roll this back a little bit. Just feel that. And the automation on that part. So as I could zoom out, I also get lost. There you go. So it was 3%. It stays 3%. Just fine. Section is just fine on 0, you see, so we'll just leave it there. Fine. Okay, let's check all the joining, like all the conjunction points. See, so this one. Tack. fine tune later. Now we're just gonna work on the sections here. Let's take out the snap and like that somewhere. Like that. Okay. Okay. And that's it. We are connected. Now we need to give it a flow listen, so check from the beginning, especially the intro, the way it blends in. And that's pretty much it. Here we go. Print. Still strong the way it starts compared to what it becomes here. So I think we need to work with the track control gain automation again. So make it start a little bit, you know, less abrupt. Just drop it. I would say a good 4.5. Softer here. Yeah, so you know, it's easier this way when we grab the clip and reduce the gain, because in that way it's going to be tight at the junction point. Still need somehow a bit of wrapping on the real sub there. It's intense. So we're gonna drop in a quick Nova, because Nova it's parallel EQ, so it distributes the energy in a different way than a normal EQ. I like it. Prefer. So we're gonna always stage 1 after Nova in between, the limiting at the end there. Also notice it's for a video, you know, so we don't need to really like push it, so it's like in your face, like with Club Master, for example. This can be just a vibe, so round, fat lows, and enough detail there. I think we're gonna add an extra stage of the Dyne 1, Lipwing Dyne 1, because we're gonna raise the overall detail, so that can be across. I'm gonna fix this now 1 second. I'm gonna tune in on the real sub stuff. There you go, and just compress. Dec24. Broaden the mid. We already decided on the crossovers. That this first part by nature sounds a bit more distant. Could raise the volume though a little bit here. We need to introduce an extra stage. I think what we're gonna do is to use a bit of Dyn1 to help this first part, and then we dial it out because this section here, this and this is fine. Touch softer, so we're gonna stop, please, stop. Click the wrong shortcut. Don't do that, Logic, please. Shut up. Stop. Sometimes I do click the wrong shortcut and Logic starts analyzing the transients and stuff. I don't want you to do it. Stop right now. This now, and then I'm gonna can stop. Yeah, the gain, this bit gonna go a little bit, the overall a little bit softer. Yeah, KDP. This just doesn't need to be loud. It needs to be a little bit controlled in tone, I think. So that's why I'm gonna add one here. And set Dyn1 is going to compress a lot of the mid-range and add the presence that we want. Try. Dyn1. Now, thing is, global band trim. We're gonna drop the global band trim. Global band trim. We're gonna drop it here. in this way, then one is gonna kind of go out of the way. Fine, cool. Let's see, beginning with. Yeah, this one needs a little bit more this cut, but it's okay, it's easy to do. Nova, and that's band 1 gain, so it's really easy. Band 1 gain, band 1, where is it? Gain. And here drop it a bit because it starts pretty intense already, so I'm gonna drop it a little bit. Check the other sections. Then it's gonna need a second, because it's a long piece, so it transitions and stuff. So I'm gonna give it a second listen, fresher ears, and probably fine tune here and there. But you know, just want to show you the process a little bit. So I needed some different settings on the gear, and you know, a lot of automation, because like I said, it's transition from section to section, different vibes, and so the automation helps a lot in this case. I'm open for questions. Should there be any?
I'd like to send them to your WhatsApp.
Ah, awesome. Okay, thanks. Let's see. Question was knocking. So for now, it's a lot of cleanup and frequency control. So when or in which case would you decide to add saturation coloring? Saturation coloring you add whenever you feel like the information is either not dense enough, or the information is it requires a bit of extra clarity, because saturation, especially in the more like coloring is a subtle thing, but saturation in general, like distortion especially, adds a lot of brightness, and also it compresses. So but at the same time, with heavy bass material like this, you either have to go multi-band, so you have to split the frequency spectrum to be able to control the saturation in different areas, because if you slap a saturator on this bass heavy stuff, it's gonna distort out, it's gonna make everything a bit foggier, really. So to answer the question, in when and how, when you need to add density, brightness, grit, a bit of fullness overall, depends always how much you add. So like if you go really subtle, it adds fullness, it adds density. If you go a bit more heavier, it adds also compression, you know. A lot of the cleaning up is always really important, because you need to, you know, get a cleaner canvas to work on, add if you want on top. So usually the process is like that. So you clean up a little bit first, then you add the staging of gains, of compression, of dynamics, depending what you need, and then coloration, saturation if you need. In this particular case, maybe we could try, especially in this part that feels a bit more distant still. That's what I'm thinking the second day listen will bring, you know. This section here, then it's still feels a bit more distant. We could add a little bit of color and saturation color, which I would do with this particular case. I would go with the ozone exciter, because if the ozone exciter can be really over the top quite soon, I would say. So you really have to go really subtle with it. But I got a couple of presets here. For example, 2-band stereo enhanced. This is a cool one. Splits in mid-side, first of all, so it's not stereo operation but mid-side. And you got like 2 main bands, and this will allow you to add density in the upper area of the spectrum, so mid-range, with the right amount. And you got all these models here, or some sounds more or less aggressive, you know, but this is a good tool to explore a little bit. So the next question, C. Aren't you affected trends with multiband compression? How do you control true peak? When I use limiters to get some peaks that passes the limiter. Well, the reason why we use super clean mastering grade, you know, multiplicity, Dyne1, these processors are clean. Like the crossover, the design is made so they're really affecting your signal, unless you want to, I suppose. Affecting the trends, you mean because of the filtering of the crossover, the phase, I suppose. How do you control true peak? True peak you control with the end limiter. In my case here, now suppose this is not there. I would go true peak on this thing. ISP, intersample peak. Then again, debate. You know, it depends. In this case, maybe we're ending on TV, you know, like, I don't know, YouTube kind of stuff. I would kind of limit this to -1, like that, true peak, just to stay on the safe side. But if this was my club master, I wouldn't care. I would just, no, -0.2. And you got occasional overs, doesn't really matter, just sounds, you know, I mean, there's debate about that, but you should do some listening tests yourself, you know, like true peak, out of true peak, no true peak, on true peak. See if you hear a difference in the sound. Most of the time, the high end, the impact of the transients can be somehow different. But I wouldn't worry too much about that, that's the thing. Yeah, this answers your question, hopefully. Thanks for following.
There's another one actually.
There's another one?
There were multiple questions in between.
I should check on the chat, huh?
No, it's from your.
Yeah, there's another one. I see. Any suggestions for hardware for beginner mastering engineers? Yeah, the first thing you're gonna have, like somebody's writing here also the room, you know, first thing you're gonna have is the accuracy of your reproduction system, what you hear. I mean, you base your decision on what you hear. So what you hear needs to be, you need to have as less variables as possible. And also to answer your question, stage 1. Well, when I designed the space here, I paid a lot of care, a lot of attention in my stereo imaging. So if you would see the room from around, the speakers are very well positioned. The area around the speakers is all symmetrical. Everything I did with a cool device here that measures with laser. You know, so you point and you get a real true value. Because if you go measure with the tape, man, it's like, no, but the laser really sorts you out. So once you reach that point, you really can feel. I could hear 2% of balance on the left, you know, because the whole thing kind of moves. So accuracy of the reproduction system is paramount. Headphones can be tricky when you're checking the stereo image because there is something else happening in physics, you know, when you have speakers and in a room around. Why stage 1, 2? Because it gives me this really cool mono-compatible mono spread. So you can make everything to appear to sound a little bit wider, but it keeps it mono-compatible. You're not doing phase stuff, you're not doing weird delays, you know, like another way to make it wide is use delays, but that creates phase interference when you go back to mono, so I'm gonna be sure about that. Stage 1, 2 is just like mono spread, click on mono. That's why, I don't know if you know this, but I was, you know, checking on my controller for mono compatibility and it's just spot on. Yeah, any suggestion for hardware for beginner mastering of speakers, accuracy, And then, I mean, if you want to go out, first of all, nowadays plugins are like incredible. Like you don't really actually even really have to have this stuff. This stuff is it's like I started, you know, years ago when plugins were not yet just these accurate. But if you really want to go harder, the first thing you have to think about, okay, I'm going out of the computer and back in, so I need converters that are solid. Like they need to sound. I cannot lose. Actually, I shouldn't lose anything going in and out, because then you can add whatever extra. I don't know if you can see it on camera. I don't remember this, but there is a device here. This is like an Avalon. It's a tube amp with a compressor and a passive EQ stage. It's Avalon 747. I used it on so many masters because it was my first device that I got, the good converter and that thing. Because it really adds something that it's magical, because you're going through tubes, the stereo opens, the color of the tubes, the passive EQ stage is really cool. And it made sense, you know, to go out of the computer into something that most of the time adds something beautiful. Otherwise, don't even bother. Just stay in and just work on your speakers in your room, work on your acoustics, on your listening, and you're like more than halfway there. That's it, right? All right, so we'll call it a day. Thanks a lot for following it, and looking forward to see you on the next one. And we're gonna wrap this up. And tomorrow, second listen, render out, send to the artist, and wait for feedback. All right, let's go.